Alright, so in this video, I'm going to be talking to you about ordering a set of rational numbers. So remember, rational numbers are fractions, decimals, and percents. So today is Monday, September 21st, 2020. Students will know how to order a set of rational numbers arising from mathematical and real-world contexts. Students will understand how to order a set of rational numbers, and students will be able to order a set of rational numbers. Now, last week we were talking about, classifying rational numbers, and remember, rational numbers are fractions and decimals. So whenever we want to compare fractions and decimals, a method we can use is to convert our fractions to decimals, which is something that we learned at the very beginning of school. Let's go over a couple examples here. It says you can order fractions and decimals by rewriting the fractions as equivalent decimals or by rewriting the decimals as equivalent fractions. So example 1a, we're going to order 2/10, 3/4, and 8/10, half, 1/4, and 4/10 from least to greatest. Remember, least is the smallest amount, so it's teeny tiny, and greatest is the largest amount, so it's big. Okay, so step one is we're going to write the fractions as equivalent decimals. Well, thankfully, 1/4, 1/2, and 3/4, those are benchmark fractions, so you should know these. If you don't, with fourths, I think of quarters. 1/4 is 1/4, 2/4 is 2/4, 3/4 is 3/4, and 4/4 is $1. Half, just think of if you had 50 cents. Okay, then step two is use the number line to write the decimals in order. So what they did was they plotted their decimals on the they plotted their decimals on the number line. So 2/10 is here. This dot that's in the middle of 2/10 and 3/10 would be represented by 25 hundredths because it's in between 20 hundredths and 30 hundredths. What I mean is this. Okay, so 25 is halfway in between 20 and 30. Okay. Same with 3/4 or 75 hundredths. That's in between 7/10 and 8 hundredths. Or I'm sorry, 8/10. Then we're going to order our numbers from least to greatest. Remember, whenever you plot them on the number line, they're already arranged from least to greatest for you. Okay, now let's look at this second example. It says you're going to order 1/12, 2/3, and 35 hundredths from least to greatest. So in this one, we have two fractions, but instead of changing those fractions to decimals, we're going to find equivalent fractions. So step one, we're going to write our decimal, the 35 hundredths, as a fraction. Then we're going to reduce that fraction. We reduced by dividing by 5. 35 divided by 5 is 7, and 100 divided by 5 is 20. Then I found a common multiple between 12, 3, and 20, which is 60. 12 times 5 is 60, 3 times 20 is 60, and 20 times 3 is 60. So whatever I do to my bottom fraction, I have to do to the top. I got my new numerators, 5, 21, and 40, and I ordered it from least to greatest. Okay, so we're going to do one together. So I need to order 85 hundredths, 3/5, 15 hundredths, and 7/10 from least to greatest. So I'm going to write my decimals. I'm going to write each number as a decimal. 3/5, fifths, you can use your digits, your fingers. So my middle finger represents 6/10 or 60/100. Then I have 15/100. And then I have 7/10. Remember, you want each number to have the same amount of digits, so I'm going to add a 0 here. Then what I'm going to do is look at the first column after the decimal. This is the tens place. Oopsies. This is the tens place. And since I'm looking for least to greatest, I'm going to look for the smallest number. So my smallest number is 15/100. I'm going to cross that out. Then my next smallest number is 6/10 or the 3/5. Cross that out. My next smallest is 7/10. And then that leaves me with 85/100 left. Okay? And that's how you're going to order those.